The night was dark and silent as Sarah drove along the deserted highway. The gas gauge in her car hovered dangerously close to empty, and she felt a growing unease in the pit of her stomach. There hadn't been a gas station for miles, and she wondered if she would even make it to the next town. Just as panic began to set in, a faint glow appeared in the distance. Relief washed over Sarah as she spotted the familiar sight of a gas station. The neon sign flickered ominously, casting an eerie glow on the deserted pumps. She pulled into the station, hoping for a quick refill and a chance to calm her racing thoughts. As she stepped out of her car, the air felt heavy with an unnatural stillness. The station seemed frozen in time, as if waiting for something to break the silence. Sarah hesitated for a moment, her instincts warning her to turn back, but the desperation for fuel pushed her forward. The door to the station creaked open, revealing a dimly lit interior. The shelves were lined with dusty, outdated snacks, and the air was thick with the scent of old motor oil. Sarah called out, but her voice seemed to get swallowed by the silence. There was no sign of anyone around. She made her way to the counter, where an old cash register sat, covered in a thin layer of grime. As she reached out to grab the handle, a chilling breeze brushed against her skin, causing her to shudder. Sarah pulled her jacket tighter around herself, feeling an inexplicable sense of unease. With growing unease, she turned her attention to the gas pumps outside. They were rusty and worn, their mechanical arms dangling lifelessly. Sarah glanced at her car, desperate to fill it up and escape this strange place. She picked up the nozzle, but to her dismay, no gas flowed from the pump. Panic began to consume her as she tried pump after pump, but they were all dry. It was as if the station had lured her in, only to leave her stranded in this desolate place. Sarah's heart raced as she realized that she was alone, trapped in this nightmare. Just as despair threatened to consume her, a low, guttural growl echoed through the station. Sarah's blood ran cold as she searched for the source of the sound. From the shadows emerged a figure, hunched over and moving with an unnatural, jerky gait. Its eyes glowed with a malevolent intensity. Fear paralyzed Sarah as the figure drew closer. Its face was contorted and disfigured, with jagged teeth protruding from its twisted grin. It reached out with elongated arms, its fingers ending in razor-sharp claws. Sarah stumbled backward, her mind racing for an escape. With a burst of adrenaline, she sprinted towards her car. The creature pursued her relentlessly, its unholy shrieks piercing the night. Sarah fumbled for her keys, her hands shaking with terror. Just as she reached the safety of her vehicle, the creature lunged at her, its claws grazing her arm. Sarah slammed the car door shut, her heart pounding in her chest. She turned the key and the engine roared to life, providing a momentary respite from the horror outside. As she peeled away from the gas station, she glanced in the rearview mirror, catching a glimpse of the creature disappearing back into the darkness. Tears streamed down Sarah's face as she drove, her mind filled with questions and lingering fear. What had she encountered at that gas station? Who, or what, was that creature? And would she ever be truly safe again? Days turned into weeks, and Sarah couldn't shake the memory of that night. The gas station haunted her dreams, its dark presence lingering in the depths of her mind. She became obsessed with finding answers, determined to uncover the truth behind the terrifying encounter. Her search led her to an old newspaper article that mentioned the gas station. According to the faded pages, it had been abandoned for years, after a series of bizarre and unexplained incidents. People reported strange occurrences, mysterious disappearances, and sightings of a grotesque creature lurking in the shadows. Sarah's heart raced as she read the chilling accounts, realizing that her encounter was not an isolated event. The gas station seemed to hold a dark secret, a malevolent force that drew unsuspecting victims into its clutches. She knew she had to confront it, to bring an end to the horror that had taken hold of her life. Armed with determination, Sarah returned to the gas station one moonlit night. The air was heavy with an eerie stillness, just as it had been on that fateful evening. She entered the station cautiously, her senses heightened and her heart pounding in her chest. The interior was even more decrepit than before, as if time had accelerated its decay. The shelves were now empty, the flickering lights casting eerie shadows on the walls. Sarah made her way to the counter, where the old cash register still stood, a relic from a forgotten time. As she reached out to touch it, a voice echoed through the silence, chilling her to the bone. "You should not have come back," it whispered, a sinister tone weaving through the words. Sarah's breath caught in her throat as she spun around, searching for the source of the voice. The figure from before emerged from the shadows, its twisted form moving with an otherworldly grace. Its eyes gleamed with a wicked intensity, locking onto Sarah with an unsettling familiarity. "You cannot escape," it hissed, its voice dripping with malice. Sarah mustered her courage, refusing to be consumed by fear. "Who are you? What do you want from me?" she demanded, her voice quivering but resolute. The creature's contorted face twisted into a smirk. "I am but a guardian, a keeper of secrets. This gas station is a gateway, a nexus of darkness. It feeds on the lost souls who stumble upon it," it replied, its voice a haunting melody. Sarah's mind raced as she tried to comprehend the creature's words. "Why me? What did I do to deserve this?" she pleaded, her voice laced with desperation. The creature's eyes narrowed, its voice growing colder. "You possess a light within you, a spark of resilience. The darkness craves it, seeks to extinguish it. You are a threat to its existence," it explained, its voice a chilling whisper. Suddenly, the station shook violently, as if the very foundations were being torn apart. Sarah stumbled, struggling to maintain her balance amidst the chaos. The walls cracked, and the creature let out a guttural scream, its form flickering in and out of existence. With a surge of determination, Sarah realized what she had to do. She closed her eyes, focusing on the light within her, summoning every ounce of strength she had. As she opened her eyes, her body radiated with a brilliant, blinding light. The creature shrieked in agony, recoiling from the pure essence before it. It writhed in pain, unable to withstand the luminosity that engulfed the station. With a final cry, it vanished into the shadows, leaving only a lingering echo of its presence. The gas station fell silent, the trembling ceasing as abruptly as it had begun. Sarah stood amidst the remnants of the supernatural encounter, her breathing heavy and her heart still pounding. The darkness that had plagued her was gone, but she knew that the battle was far from over. With cautious steps, she made her way out of the gas station, the night air embracing her like a newfound ally. The world seemed different now, as if a weight had been lifted. Sarah knew that she had faced a malevolent force and emerged victorious, but she also knew that it could return. Days turned into weeks, and Sarah dedicated herself to unraveling the mysteries surrounding the gas station. She delved deep into ancient legends and occult texts, seeking knowledge that could help her understand the origins of the darkness that had plagued her life. Her research led her to a forgotten manuscript that spoke of an ancient ritual. It detailed a way to permanently seal off gateways to other realms, preventing the malicious entities from crossing over into the mortal world. Sarah realized that this was her chance to put an end to the gas station's curse once and for all. Armed with the knowledge she had acquired, Sarah returned to the gas station on the night of a full moon. She carried with her an assortment of arcane artifacts and symbols, ready to perform the ritual that would sever the connection between the mortal plane and the malevolent realm that had plagued the station. As she set up the ritualistic items, a sense of purpose coursed through her veins. She could feel the weight of the responsibility on her shoulders, knowing that the fate of future travelers rested on her success. With each careful placement of a symbol, Sarah could feel the energy in the air shifting, a convergence of power building around her. As the clock struck midnight, Sarah began the incantation, her voice carrying the weight of ancient words. The air crackled with electricity as the symbols glowed, their light intertwining and dancing in a mesmerizing display. The very fabric of reality seemed to tremble as the ritual reached its climax. In a burst of blinding light, the gas station shook violently, its walls groaning under the strain. Sarah's heart raced, knowing that the final moment had come. With one last surge of determination, she unleashed her power, channeling it into the ritual. A deafening roar echoed through the station as a surge of energy erupted from the ground, reaching towards the heavens. The malevolent force that had plagued the gas station fought against the barrier Sarah had created, desperately clawing at the edges of the closing gateway. But Sarah's resolve held firm, her willpower unwavering. She poured every ounce of her being into sealing the portal, her voice resonating with authority as she commanded the darkness to retreat. Slowly, inexorably, the gateway began to close, the light from the symbols dimming until only darkness remained. With a final surge of energy, the gateway vanished, leaving behind a sense of peace and victory. Sarah stood amidst the remnants of her battle, knowing that she had succeeded in protecting future travelers from the horrors that lurked within the gas station. As she turned to leave, Sarah felt a weight lift from her shoulders. The gas station, once a place of terror and darkness, was now a relic of the past. The nightmares that had haunted her were fading, replaced by a newfound sense of purpose and triumph. And so, Sarah walked away from the gas station, leaving behind a legacy of bravery and resilience. She carried with her the lessons learned from her harrowing ordeal, forever changed by the horrors she had faced and overcome. The gas station would forever remain a distant memory, a reminder of the darkness that lurks just beyond the edges of our reality.